Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk. I'm Heidi Smith. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in the United Kingdom, and it's a new catalogue day. There'll be lots of inspiration out there, I'm sure, but I went for something that perhaps isn't quite as obvious, and that is this beautiful new Wisteria Wishes stamp set. And here I've actually used our Fresh Freesia and Highland Heather combination, as you can see, but I've used the new Parakeet Party in here as one of the in colours, and I thought I would actually create this for you using another couple of the new inks that we've got. So that lovely lime colour is Parakeet Party, then we've got this beautiful Starry Sky, deep purplish blue, and the lovely Orchid Oasis as well, which I thought for these Wisteria were absolutely beautiful. Lovely stamp set. It comes with some dies, as you can see here. I haven't used those on this card, but I have got some super samples to show you using that. I've got a couple of bits here that you can see I've actually used for a bit of masking. I've just stamped on card and then used those, so I'll probably use those again. And the beauty of this stamp set is, yes, it's Wisteria, but if you turn those upside down, I can think of lots of flowers, lupins, lavender. I reckon I could even make a corn on the cob out of that. I'm going to have a go. That you can create a lovely vine here as well, and say, yeah, great stamp set. And then there's another new product here, which is this lovely stylish shapes. So they're these super banners with the stitching on the edge, so it's like perforations rather than stitching, the little dots. Absolutely beautiful. And what I would recommend is that you keep the outer of these to help with checking whether something will fit in there, you know, in terms of a sentiment. Great way, just pop them in there. So yeah, that's what I'm going to work with. So I'd better get started. Inside I've stamped my card base on this one using the same kind of combination, and I would stamp the envelope in the same way as well. So to start off with, then I'm going to get used to these new names of colours, so bear with me. So we have a Starry Sky card base, so 14.5 by 21 centimetres, scored in half at 10.5. So whatever, you know, if you're in the US, then use, you know, obviously use your half, your slightly shorter and wider card base. I've then got two pieces of basic white, and these are 14 by 10, so just half a centimetre, quarter of an inch smaller than each of those, one for the inside and one for the outside. You're going to want a Stampin' Pierce mat. I seem to have buried mine, so I might not be using mine. Oh, here it is, rather grubby, but it's a photopolymer stamp set, so Stampin' Pierce mat will help you get a really good impression. And then I've got a layer of our lovely Orchid Oasis cardstock, and that is actually, these are slightly not quite right actually. This one is 14 by 10. This one I'm going to trim down because we want this one to be 13.5 by 9.5, because that's the layer to go on top of our Orchid Oasis on the outside. But I tend to cut them both at the same time, because if I cut a smaller one, you can guarantee I'll stamp on the wrong one. Okay, so that's that. What we're going to do though, first of all, is gut our piece of Orchid Oasis. So I'm going to line it up at 1.5 centimetres, and I'm just going to cut from about 1.5 down to the bottom. So that's about just over half an inch. And this is two-fold. One, it's making my supplies go a bit further. And unfortunately, when demonstrators ordered, we couldn't actually get the A4 cardstock in all of the colours. So I've had to cut into 12 by 12, which is just not on. So I'm just making sure that's cut all the way around, because that piece is going to be my layer. So I say I've cut it at 1.5, and I just want to trim this to 10.5 by 6.5. So I'm just taking an extra centimetre off that. Okay, so that's 10.5 by 6.5, and then I'm going to want a scrap of my basic white to go on to that as well. And this one should be big enough for me to cut. So I want one that's 10 by 6 centimetres. I'm actually going to trim a little bit off both sides of that one. I think that was from a project that didn't quite go right, so I had some furry edges. There we go. So that's going to layer on top there. Now the fun bit of stamping with a new stamp set. Okay. So if you remember, we've got the larger piece for the inside, the slightly smaller for the front, and then the smaller one for the layer. So I'm going to start with my inside piece. And with the inside, I usually stamp off a little bit to kind of give it almost a watermarky kind of effect. So I'm going to take my lovely parakeet party and a scrap of paper, just so that I've got something to stamp off onto. And this ink pad's quite juicy as well, being new. And that's just going to get that straight. So I want to get those little bits vertical. So I'm just going to take that right to the top, like so. I'm going to use my lighter colour, my Orchid Oasis. Again, I'm probably going to stamp that off, yes, for the inside. I'm just going to line those up, so the tops of those line up with my little, I don't know what they're called, stems, I suppose. And then the darker one is just going to go over and create a bit of depth, and as you can see, they're absolutely beautiful. Then we're going to repeat that effect on our main piece of card. Okay, so this is the one that's going to create the background here, so I'm going to go across the top with my stem, and then lower down I'm going to be using my masks that I showed you earlier. So if we do the stem first, so again, in that background, I'm actually going to keep that quite light. And that one I'm just putting on the end, so I've got space for those wisteria flowers to come down. So Orchid Oasis. Oh, have I gone for... Oh no, I have gone for Orchid Oasis, okay. And this is, as I say, this is sort of quite new. So I'm just going to come down with some more of my flowers. And actually I'm not going to worry too much about the branches, because they're going to be covered up by that central panel, like so. I'll put that away so I don't, for the moment, get it wrong. So now I'm going to come in with my Starry Sky. And this is just a single one. And you can just really quickly drop it in your ink pad like that. But as I say, it is, these colours are beautiful. If you like your purples, you know me, I do like a purple. So there we have it. So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to have a look and see how that, if there's anywhere I need to pop any greenery in. And to be honest with you, I don't think there is. I could put a little bit in either side, but I don't think it's needed. So what I'm going to do now is create my focal panel. So again, I'm going to come down my branches there. Then again, Orchid Oasis for the triple. I say it's so new, I haven't even got round to putting my, I'm so excited to do it. I haven't got around to putting my labels on the ends when they're open yet. But I can see me get into lots of mess with this. Yeah, you know me, messy crafter. Clumsy crafter, more like. There we go. I've caught an edge on that. But as you can see, that stuff, you know, it really does give beautiful depth on that. And it's another one of these stamp sets that, you know, you've got to see it demonstrated, I think, to see the beauty of it. So that's going to go to one side to dry as well. So we've got those layers. So what I need to do now is to do my sentiment. So I haven't actually used the masks. Probably what I should have, I'll show you that though. So what I did was where I wanted to put some extra foliage, what I did was I'd put that over the top of those flowers, and then I could stamp the leaf. In fact, why don't I just show you? So I've just put that as a very, you know, very simple mask, and then I'm just going to put those in, and that way you get a little bit of the foliage, just of the branches in there, without it stamping over the top of those leaves. And then you could do the same on this one here. If you wanted to, just come in and put again a little bit of branches out of the on the side there. Okay, so I'm going to leave my Starry Sky out because I do want to use that for my sentiment. So pop things to one side. So my sentiment, I'm going to use one of the larger ones of these banners, as you can see here. And actually what I've done is I've taken the sentiment from the flowering tulips. So no one deserves a happier birthday than you, which I think is a lovely sentiment. Just ink that up, nice and square. You can't see me, but I'm standing up over the top of that to try and get it as straight as I can. So now we can actually put that together. Hopefully without getting myself too inky in the process. So first of all, I'm going to pop this, so that's where you can see I dropped it really well into my ink pad. Luckily it was on the reverse, thank goodness. So that's going to go on there. So just lining it up on that edge. Like so, and as you can see, you wouldn't know that that had got a centre panel cut out of it. Particularly because this middle piece is going to go over that area as well. I'm going to grab some dimensionals for this. So I'm adding dimension just to the front panel, not to the main panel. I just want to keep that well supported. This one's going to go through the post. And I think that might even cover it where I've dipped my fingers in the ink. You see with these dimensionals I've drawn on them so that you can see where they go. So then again centre that in there. I'm going to pop this right down. I'm going to pop it actually in the middle. I prefer it off to one side, so what I'm going to do is pop a dimensional in the corner there and on the bottom edge over here, and just add some seal on the top, and then that will just pop on there like so. Right, I made a nice ink smut on the inside of my card, but I'm not about to redo that. I think this is going to be like Blackberry Bliss that I just get into a mess with. But it's such a rich colour. And maybe once it's a little less juicy. You see, so I've got my ink. So what I will do is use an ink eraser on that. See if I've got one to hand. That might just take some of that mess away. So this is a sand eraser, and it's just very good at just lifting with a little bit of friction Now, if I hadn't been able to manage that, then what I would have done is I'd have stamped another one in there. So, pop this onto my card front. Making sure I get this the right way up, which I didn't with my original sample. One of those back to front moments. And there we have our lovely Wisteria Wishes cards. So happy new catalogue day, new in colours. The other two that I haven't shown you yet, Sweet Sorbet and Tahitian Tide. I can see some lovely summery holiday photos coming with those. Come back and see me again soon. If you'd like to purchase any of the products you've seen, just pop along to my blog or use the links in the description bar below this video, because you'll find those take you to my shop. I do appreciate it if people shop with me. It helps me to produce these videos for you. So, are you fresh freesia or are you new in colours? Either way, I think they're absolutely beautiful cards, and I think anyone would be delighted to receive them. Take care, come back soon, bye.